Namaste everyone. Welcome to the Advaita Vedanta Satsang Home, the ongoing sessions on Aparokshanubhuti offered by Binduji. We are on this session 42. All the sessions are available as replay on Clubhouse, or you can catch them on Advaita Retort channel, which is pasted in the chat. For reference, Binduji is using the text pinned above from Swami Vimuktananda, which is the English transliteration. And the other text is just a Sanskrit text offered by Acharya Vidyaranya, which is also pasted in the chat. Housekeeping, few housekeeping things. We're going to shut down the chat and hand raising for an hour, after which we'll open it up for Q&A with Binduji. Thank you, Binduji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. Namaste. We do the invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vikpagine Vyomavat Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Dakshinamurti. Aparokshanubhuti. Sri Harim Paramanandam Upateshcharamishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. So we were discussing the verse number 123, where we found that Brahmevasmiti sadritya niralambadaya stitihi dhyāna shabdena vikhyāta paramananda dāyini. So the dhyāna shabda, which is there as per the Advaita, is the paramananda dāyini, is the one which gives ultimate bliss. So we found that in the description, as in the discussions in the last class, that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana are activities, whereas Atma-jnana, the result of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is Atma-jnana, and that is a sthiti, means it's a status. And to reach that state where you achieve that state of niralambadaya without any dependency on anything else, that is the dhyana, what is being referred to. So we have to see that what does Shravana do? The action of Shravana is listening to Mahavakyas, Upanishadic statements and lectures and from competent teacher or explanatory, sub-commentaries, etc. And what is the goal for what is that activity reading to? Or what is the goal of that? It is opening up our intellectual for an understanding of the term Brahman and its distinction from the body-mind. The Mahavakya says, Tattvamasi, Tadattvamasi, means you are that. So that is being referred here is as Brahman. But we all face a predicament that we identify with our body-mind-intellect complex. So that knowledge of us, which is a wrong knowledge or ajnana or avidya, is to be removed, and that has to be replaced with the correct knowledge. And why it is not correct knowledge, the body, mind, intellect is not we? Because what is objectifiable cannot be the subject, me. So when I am saying that I am the body, the mind, the intellect, But at the same time, the body, mind, the intellect is all objectifiable. They are known to me. Their functions are known to me. Their operations are known to me. So they being contents of my knowledge can be not the knower me. So for that intellectual understanding that we are not the body-mind complex, but we are Atman or Brahman, but we do not know what is Atman or Brahman. It is just a term, like the terms in quantum physics or things like that, We may hear so many words from that, but they are all just terms for us. We may not be able to understand that. That is why, while listening and understanding the Upanishad statement, you need somebody to explain the intended meaning of those things. The intended meaning of these things, when you listen to that from a competent teacher who explains as intended in the Upanishad and the text, you will have a better understanding, and intellectually you will be able to appreciate that I am not the body-mind complex, but I am that consciousness, awareness, which is the subject. While when we listen to the teachings and study that, understand, there are two aspects to it. Intellectually we may accept it, but the seed of doubt may not get removed. This is what is the first stage, what is called sphuraṇa. You are listened, you have understood, intellectually appreciated, logically understood, technically understood, you can quote, you can refer to that, everything. But when it comes to operational level or practical level, the doubt due to which we still identify with our body-mind complex persists. In order to eradicate that or ward off that doubt overpowering our identification with the body, mind, intellect, is the second stage, what is called the manana. The word manana meaning is reflection or reasoning. What is the action in the case of manana? The activity in the manana is deep reflection. Deep reflection of what? What we have learned intellectually and understood everything, but still remains as doubt in us, or we are not able to absorb it 100%. That becomes firm in us, or will get more, what you call, more clarity for our understanding. That is what is required. So what happens is a deep reflection on what we have heard by analyzing contradictions, and we have to apply it to ourselves. We are not here. This is a problem with the rest of the teachings. All of the teachings in our life till now, we could apply it external to us. Every knowledge which we acquired have been useful to us. I'm not saying there is no utility for that. It has been all useful, but the application was external in nature. But here, in the case of the Upanishadic study or this sphuraṇa, what we have done, the internalizing with logical coherence, applying to our own this understanding that it is being said about me or my true nature. While I am being negated of my body, mind, intellect, complex identification, it also has to establish me somewhere else. Otherwise, the mind will never be happy. The mind will be perturbed. You can become mad. You can become desperate, or you can become what you call in a remorse or depression. To avoid that, we need to understand that teachings is applicable to me, my true nature. When I am understanding it as me, my true nature, I am internalizing or swamshikaranam. Swamshikaranam, swa-amshikaranam means making my own, my me as the part of it. Why are we doing that? Because I said, we still have doubts of what we have intellectually understood, but not plausible for us to apply it to myself. That is where the doubt comes. That doubts are called samshaya. So, removal of these intellectual doubts, samshaya nivṛtti, can be achieved only by manana, not by shravana. And how do we do that? We heard the teachings of Upanishads, or, Prajñānam Brahma, I am ātma-brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, all the Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, all those things we have heard. But then, what is the method by which the doubts are being removed? These are all statements which are indicative in nature, but they don't remove the doubt. For removing the doubt, we need upaya. Upaya means or methodology. Like what methodology? Like that of drik-drishya-viveka, avasthatraya-nirupanam, or neti-neti. When we are doing that, what are we negating? In all the cases, drik-drishya-viveka, avasthatraya-nirupana, or neti-neti, in all those things, we have got anvaya vṛttireka, that is negating at the same time assertion. While one side we negate what we thought we are, but at the same time we need to assert ourselves what we are. Truly we are. So when we do neti-neti, that is only the negation part of it. But when the neti-neti is complete in its final stage, the one who is negating, or who is saying not this, he cannot negate himself. I am not there, he cannot say that. Or I am not an object. That statement is there, final statement. But what is that we cannot say. That is where these indicative words of Mahavakyas are used as pillars or anchor for us to establish ourselves. This establishment is called the nischaya, or ascertaining or certainty in the truth that I am verily Brahman. I am indeed Brahman. And what is Brahman? Brahatvad Brahma. Everything. There is nothing external to it. That is the Prajñānam Brahma avastha when we get it. So when we completed Shravana and Manana, when we have got a assertion or nischaya that I am in Brahman, that is not enough. We were Brahman all the time. Even before we started the journey, we were Brahman. While the journey also we are Brahman. Even right now we are all Brahman. But that has not helped me in any way. That Aham Brahmasmi, which has been without doubt established, need to become my nature. That process through which it gets established as I am Brahma or Aham Brahmasmi is called nididhyasana. Contemplative assimilation of our final stage. We are assimilating and becoming one with it. The knowledge and myself are not two. In all other cases, the knowledge is different. I am different from the knowledge. Because I say, I know it. I know it means knowledge is separate from me. The content of the knowledge becomes the it, and I am separate. So I am the subject, knowledge is intermediary, and the content of the knowledge, it, is separate from me. But when I am knowing myself as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, there is no separation between anything. This assimilation of that non-availability of anything outside me or separate from me become a reality to me only when through contemplative assimilation or nididhyasana. So nididhyasana is the process of repeating this knowledge into habitual mental process. It has to become a habit. At any point of time, even though you may be operating through your mind, body, intellect, the knowledge of that I am Brahman who is operating through this body, mind, intellect, that will be the attitude with which we will be working. This body, mind, intellect is not separate from me. They are also Brahman. But they are instruments. Like the eyes and the ears, etc. are instruments from the body point of view. But then in the body, they become one with the body. They are not separate from the body. Same way, when I am Brahman, this body, mind, intellect complex is a tool for me, similar to the eyes and ears to the body. And then the mental process at that time will be in a position to assimilate or to absorb a state where all dichotomies are denied or dissolved. This dissolving of latent tendencies where we habitually separate everything outside me, because at the moment we come to Jagrat, I am there, everything else is separate from me, is that habitual behavior. That habitual behavior of ours will get replaced by I am Brahman, everything else is Brahman. It is in my awareness that the I, the body, mind, intellect, which is a tool, and the objects for that body, mind, intellect compelled to interact, they are all in awareness, and that awareness is I am. That is the Aham Brahmasmi. So all these tendencies and superimposition like adhyasa, where we think that we are the mind, the body, the etc., all of them will be dissolved in that process. The nature is effortful and corrective practice by which we need to keep on correcting ourselves whenever we err in our actions. It is not easy. The tendency for the mind or the intellect to go back to the old habits will be so predominant in the initial stages. We need to forcefully remind ourselves that we are not the body-mind, the complex. But if we don't do that, we will be at the same place where we started the journey. So there is an effort required for unlearning. That's the word to be used. The mind need to unlearn the habits. The mind-intellect complex has to unlearn the habit of identification with the physical body and the association with the physical body as me, mine, etc. When that corrective practice takes place, we will become more and more habituated to identifying or associating ourselves with awareness, consciousness. That is when Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma will become a reality as a habit. That is what is called the Sarvatma Bhava, which we studied in detail in the Taittiriya Upanishad. And this process of habitually getting ourselves established as Brahman is a preparation for the mind to be effortless in abiding in the truth, Brahman, by eradicating the tendencies it had earlier with the identification of the body-mind complex, etc. Over a period, we will find that we don't need any effort to remain in our not only understanding, but our behavior and habit that I am Brahman. I am no more the body-mind-intellect complex which is a tool for me, not I am the body-mind-intellect complex. This will result in the final thing, what is called ātma-dhyāna. That is the time when you are in a sthiti or in a state of abidance in the self. Abiding in the self will happen without effort, and there won't be any thoughts that I am abiding in myself. Because in the mind we have the feeling that I am thinking, I am analyzing, I am emoting. All those things are there. Therefore the I is different. But we do not know who the I is that. But when the Atma-dhyāna avastha, or when the avastha happens, or the state of abiding in our true nature of the self, there will not be any effort. It is the most effortless thing which we can even imagine. Even sleep is an effort. Deep sleep is an effort. That's why some people find it difficult to go to deep sleep also, because it's effort. But even when they are trying to fight and get into deep sleep, they are still abiding in themselves, but they do not know it. This natural abidance in one's own self or Brahma Swarupa is the goal for Atma-dhyāna. At that stage, there is no support needed. We don't need the mind, we don't need the sense organs, we don't need our identification, we don't need our ego. We'll be free from all mental modifications. Vṛtti-rahitam. There won't be akhantakara vṛtti, brahmākāra vṛtti, or any type of vṛtti there when the culmination takes place. It is an effortless state. That cannot be described by words, because that is a effortless state of our true nature, present all the time. Even time is present in that nature. Space is present in that nature. Causation is present in that nature. Everything which you bring, that is called Brahman. And when we realize that and being in the state, the multiplicity which we are been fighting and, trying to win over and achieve that state, we will find that none of them really existed. We were fighting a smoke ghost, a ghost which appeared, a smoke which appeared as a ghost. We were fighting it. Really speaking, that was never there. This is like being the sun itself, all shining, or the source of everything, source of life, source of rain, source of fire, source of everything what we call it in this surface of earth. That is the source. We become the source from where we felt that we are individuals. There is no individuality also at that stage. It is the final state one can achieve. It is not an achievement by getting into some place which we are not. It is already present. It is that what we are. All what we are doing is like learning to undo what mistakes we are doing, to realize that the mistakes were not really there. We thought the mistakes were real and we were acting that. Or in other words, the lion of the dream, when it wakes us up, we realize that there is no lion, there is no thing, the dream was not real. And that is why it is called Aparokshanubhuti. Because there is no intermediary required for it. For every other jnana, we need a pramana. Pramana means of knowledge. For visual thing, we need vision. For sound, we need ears. For like that, we need for the 5 sense organs. Even for inference, we need a reference of a sense organs, prior conditions for it. All type of pramanas are dependent on pratyaksha or direct perception. But here is a perception or awareness. I can't even call it as a perception, because that etymology of the word perception will misguide us. Here is the realization that we were or we are, and we will be all the time that awareness. We can never be not that consciousness or awareness at any point of time. And that is not through any medium. Therefore, it is direct. Therefore, aparoksha and realization is anubhuti. This ātma-jñāna will culminate in the Aparokshanubhuti. No effort or reflection will be needed either for establishing that or thereafter. It is a lived experience. It is an experience those who have achieved it. They live in it. It is not that they had the experience and they forgot about it. No. What we are now experiencing is something which we have acquired due to ignorance, not knowing who we are. We are only abandoning that or discarding that. When we discard that, we will remain in our true nature. This is the ātma-jñāna, what is being referred in this particular state. The next verse, 124, is taking it further to that. nirvikāratā vṛttya brahmākāratā punaha vṛtti-vismaraṇam saṃjñaka Samādhi jñāna-saṃjñaka. Now this is the definition for Samādhi. Dharana, dhyāna, Samādhi. So we were talking about dhyana or the nididhyasana, atma-dhyana. But here is the Samādhi. Samādhi hi jñāna-saṃjñaka. The knowledge itself is what is known as Samādhi. There is no separate Samādhi and knowledge. How does vṛttya nirvikāratā punaha brahmākāratā? Through the identification with Brahman and the changelessness of Brahman, of thought, when it happens, there will be a complete forgetfulness of all mental activity. We will not be remembering our mind. We will not have memory of anything. We will not even know that we are in a state of thought. We are in a state of remembrance or anything of that sort. That is true knowledge. All knowledge till now what we have acquired, I said, is content-based. Never we knew anything about the knower of the content. To know the knower of the content, the process of knowing has to be differently applied. That is what the nididhyasana and atma-dhyāna which we referred in the last verse. Where all vṛttis, vṛtti means thought, all vṛttis which were guiding us, giving us knowledge about everything other than myself, they subside. There is no thought flow in the mind. And when the thought flow is not there and we are not in a deep sleep, we are in full awareness of awareness itself. And that state of awareness without any thoughts is a state of knowledge or knowing or being or consciousness. That is why it is called jñāna-saṃjñaka. Samjña means name or nomenclature or definition or name. Jnana is the knowledge. So Samādhi is a state of knowledge, not a state of absence of content and knowing and everything. The content of in the Samādhi in Advaita is the self-awareness, awareness of our own being, abiding in that, remaining wedded to ourselves without any thoughts. No names and forms are applicable that time. No activity is involved in it. It is an absolute state of abiding in the awareness or knowledge. This is exactly what the 124 verse number is there. Vidyaranya explains it much clearly. Atha anyat samadhi rupam panchadasham angam lakshayati. The 15th step of the yoga, Advaita yoga. What is it? Nirvikāratā vṛtti-vismaraṇa rahitaya andakarana vṛttya. That is, through a mental mode, andakarana vṛtti, that is free from worldly objects following vṛtti-vismaraṇa rahitaya. Vṛtti-vismaraṇa means is following the worldly objects. Rahita means free from. Nirvikara means there is no modification to that. That state has no modification. It stands changeless. Punaha anantaram eva brahmākāratā yat samyak prapancha samskara rahitam. That is, immediately the very form of Brahman, entirely free from all impressions, samskara, rahitaya. Prapancha samskara means impressions of the phenomenal world. Rahitam. Dhyātṛ, dhyeya, akara, vṛtti, shunyam. The dichotomy of no meditator and the meditated, meditation, etc. There is no dhyātṛ, dhyāna, dhyeya. All these type of vṛttis or mental thoughts and modifications, shunyam, is not there. They cannot be existing in that state. Because when you become Brahman, when you not become Brahman, when you realize that you are Brahman, or when you are aware that you are the self, it is becoming all-inclusive. You are engulfed in the knowledge of being. That state where there is nothing other, not dvaitān asti. When you don't have the second one, how can there be thoughts? How can there be any type of agitation in the mind? The total absence. At the same time, you are not in a state of deep sleep or slumber or, medicated anesthesia or any of those states, but you are fully aware. That awareness engulfs all multiplicities to dissolve them as nothing but forms of awareness itself. The forms and the names dissolve and become one with the knower. That is the state of Samādhi. We have to clearly vṛtti-vismaraṇam dvaitān-anusandhānam Samādhi panchadashāngam ityarthaha. Just a minute. One minute. Sorry, my page closed by mistake. This forgetfulness of mental modification, that is vṛtti-vismaraṇam, and dvaitān-anusandhāna, that is non-attention to duality. This is the definition given by Vidyaranya. That is, without mental modifications and there is no duality. So you can imagine what is the state of Samādhi, and it is the 15th and the final stage of culmination of Advaitic Yoga. Nanu vṛtti-vismaranasya ajñāna-rūpatvad kadam samadhitvam iti āshankya. Suppose now somebody has got a doubt. But since forgetting mental modes may seem like ignorance, because only when we are ignorant we cannot have thoughts. How can it be Samādhi? Are you not referring to a state of forgetfulness or loss of memory? Brahma-ātma aikya-bodha abhāve kevala vṛtti-vismaranasya tathatve api. That is, in the absence of Brahman, self, or Atman or Brahman, identity, and which is the realization, mere forgetting of vṛttis indeed is blankness. If we do not have the substitution for forgetfulness, we are not forgetting. We are not forgetting our own being. That is why the what I said, Swamshikaranam, I explained it, that internalizing. If we do not internalize it, when we negate every thought, etc., we may not be able to place what is being indicated. What is being indicated is about that is what is called Brahma-ātma aikya-bodha. That is, this self which I thought as I. Here this I is, the Atma is referred as the I, the individuality. That individuality and the Brahma, that is the total. Thus, the Jiva and Jiva and Brahma, that aikya. In the absence of that, it will become blank. Mind will become blank. Na brahma-jñāna-sahitasya tathātvam iti āshayena samādhim visinashti jñāna-saṃjñaka iti. So, when it is accompanied with the knowledge of Brahman, this absence of vṛtti is accompanied by the knowledge of Brahman. That is, Brahman is not something separate. I am Brahman. So I am not thinking about something outside me, separate from me, or, as an entity called Brahman, which is not me. I am not talking about that. Therefore, the text refines that the Samādhi is to be understood as the knowledge itself. That knowledge is not a content-based knowledge, but the knowledge of being yourself, or what you are. Jnanam iti samjña yasya sa jñāna-saṃjñaka brahmākāratā sphuraṇa rūpa ityartha. It is that luminosity or the self-shining nature of Atman, Brahman, or myself. I am there, therefore everything becomes known to me. So I am the one. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. We studied about that. So that is the self-luminosity of the self, which is which is not illumining anything other than itself. Because there is nothing other than itself. So what happens? That nature of luminosity is like the sun alone in the sky without any dust or particles or planets or anything in this thing. What will it illumine? But it is self-shining at the same time. But it has nothing else to illumine. That awareness that I am the Atman or Brahman is a Aparokshanubhuti. It is, you only can know that. No person outside can call you as a jnani. Because they don't know what is jnana is. If somebody has to say you are a jnani, they should know what is jnanam and they should see that jnanam in you. No, it is not that. When you know it, you don't need anybody else to tell that you realize, you knew now who you are or what you are. Uktam cha samadhihi samvidutpatti parajivaikyatam prati iti. It is quoting, he is quoting that Vidyaranya Swami is quoting that Samadhi is arising of consciousness leading to the oneness of the individual and the supreme. Samadhi vṛtti-utpatti. Samvidutpatti. Samvidutpatti means the arising of consciousness. Samvid means consciousness. Utpatti means arising. So Samadhi is a arising of consciousness para jiva aikyatam prati. Para means Brahman. Everything else. I identifying with everything else. I become Brahman. Because everything else is sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Everything is Brahma. Is content of, is within the awareness. And that awareness is I myself. I am not the knower of the content of the awareness. I am the awareness and the contents are not separate from me. That is the para jiva aikyatam, prapti. When you achieve that, you are in a state of samadhi. It is not a mere stillness or blankness as we discussed earlier. It is a culmination of nididhyasana where duality no longer even as a subject-object can never exist. It is neither suppressing of thoughts as we do it in the Raja Yoga or Patanjali Yoga. Vṛtti-nirodha. For that we suppress the vṛttis. Here it is, there is no suppressing of thoughts, but dissolving the need for thoughts. When we know that there is no need for thoughts, or the thoughts itself become redundant, dissolved in the knowledge. That is why Shankara emphasizes on the nirvikāratā or jñāna-saṃjñaka in the particular verse. This, we need to meditate upon these two verses which we have completed last time, and this particular verse. What is Samādhi? Shankaracharya has given to us as a definition. And that is the state of Aparokshanubhuti, or the state of culmination of our learning, where we are not anymore tied up with the subject-object dichotomy. That ekatvam anupashyata, that seeing oneness, sarvatma-bhava, sarvam khalu idam brahma. All those statements become relevant only if we understand the exact meaning of this definition of samadhi. Go through this particular session again to establish yourself in that state of oneness. And that Paramananda-dhyini, the state of supreme bliss for the absence of duality, is our true nature. That is not something which we have lost it. It is there even when we thought we are separate from that. Even when we thought we are the body, mind, intellect, it is there. It is in that light we are even able to say that I am the body, mind, the complex. Even though the body, mind, complex is object for my content of knowledge. I stop today's lecture here. We'll continue it on Friday. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, Bindoji. Again, a very profound session. Like you said, we're going to have to listen to this replay and do the manana repeatedly. I've opened the hand raising and the chat windows open for discussions. And Bindoji will be available for about half an hour. If there are any questions, please come up. Bindoji, can I ask a question? You mentioned about...
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned about the forgetfulness, and then you also talked about suppression, all related to memory. forgetfulness, and then suppression, and then the aspect of full knowing, full cognition, full knowing.
Mm.
Those are, I think, very critical, landmarks in distinguishing, right? Can you
Yes.
elaborate on that aspect of what that memory is? Because you did not. Maybe you might elaborate it in the future in another class. But what is the memory that? Because that's where the
Memory is always a content of memory, in the sense that we are always having knowledge of everything other than ourselves. That all of them are content of knowledge. And forgetfulness is only applicable to those things. Even the forgetfulness is known to us. I am aware of my forgetfulness, or I am aware of my forgetfulness, which shows that even forgetfulness is a content for me. Therefore, the forgetfulness which is being referred to here is that when this was the question asked by your opponent, saying that when we are having no vṛttis in the mind, is it not a state of forgetfulness where the man has lost memory? He doesn't remember anything, he is there available. But that person has no knowledge about Brahma Atma Aikyam, that I am Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma, or I am Brahma. He has lost recollection as a faculty, that's all. But he has not substituted it with the knowledge that who he is or what he is. This is what the forgetfulness is being referred to here.
Yes, very clear. Thank you, Binduji. Namaste, Venkatji. Over to you.
Hari Om Binduji.
Namaste, Venkat.
No. So I'm trying to reconcile because I'm on this path quite a bit. I'll try to reconcile what Samadhi as in yoga and Samadhi has been talked about here. Samadhi as in yoga, this forgetfulness is sort of induced, Binduji, by, you see in buses or trains when people sleep, their head, won't be straight. It will fall on this side or that side or front. So Samadhi, what it does is also, it induces the same momentum. When the head drops, the ego is made to sort of slide down. Literally. If the ego is not there, then the thought chain get killed. And it induces one into sort of thoughtless state, Binduji. So that forgetfulness is induced, leading to, that it is still conscious, but without ego. It induces basically. Then, moment you come back to that head straight, ego is back and everything as usual, life as usual. And here there is a second portion that is told, Brahman, then the identifying with the Brahman, and is called Samadhi, known also as knowledge. So there is a shift in identity. This is important thing that you described. Shift in identity. I'm just try to clarify this. Identifying is the mind that is active, identifying itself with Brahman. The thoughtless induction by not powering thoughts, even actively done, simply don't power the thoughts, keep dropping, leading to that conscious awareness without any active awareness, without any movement or powering thoughts, and then the identification shifted to Brahman, which is in and out, both. Whatever seen nameless, you don't give objective, you don't attend to the objects, etc. What is that identification? Can you clarify further? Because there is the awareness. If at all there is an active mind that identifies with consciousness, what is this knowledge? Can you elaborate a little more here? Aware of being aware also been talked about. There are two sort of entities connected to each other. Awareness and mind is available at this stage. So identification, will that resolve the mind? Question number one. Identification with Brahman, that active awareness, will that resolve the mind? Number one. Number two, that which functionally out, where there is with eyes open, the entire world is available for process. Even there is an active mind which is processing along with active awareness. What is this? Or there are two entities, there is no separation there. Still there is active mind and active awareness which are inseparable. How do you see this, Mandaji?
Okay. When we are talking about the Aparokshanubhuti, or the direct realization of the true nature of the truth, I can't call it as the individual, because the individual is no more there at that time. And there is no phenomenal world with the names and forms separate. What happens is that mind doesn't have fluctuations or thoughts in it. At the same time, the activeness of the mind is full, but it will be turned inward, not to grasp the world through the sense organs. Normally what happens is the mind is turned externally to grasp the sense organs feeding it. Here, he is looking, but he is not seeing. He is hearing, but he is not listening. A state where the sense organs are present, the mind is disconnected from the sense organs, including its own internal emotions, feelings, and thoughts, but the mind active in itself is in a state of blankness as far as the content is concerned, but not as the awareness is concerned. It is full potential of the mind in itself, and it is, I can't use the word enjoying itself, but it's in a state of content with which it is happy, or it is, see, the words will become diminish the state, but I have to use the words for taking something closer to that. It is a plenum of bliss where we do not have any need for engagement through the sense organs. Staring externally, but not seeing what is in front of the eyes. You are self-absorbed in yourself.
I can put the word samadhana.
That is samadhi. Samadhi and samadhana are not different.
By then,
Yeah, he is in a state of samadhana, or no need for any. It is samadhana means equipoised mind.
Yeah.
Sama means equal. Dha means for the, what you call, the mind or the intellect, and the na is the state. So samadhana is a state of the mind under equilibrium.
This is clear, Binduji. This is, well applicable when your eyes are closed.
No,
Where
you can be in with your eyes open, ears open, everything, but you
we'll
are
go there.
not there. You are
We'll go
not
there.
there.
Yeah, we'll go there one by one. Maybe that will
Uh,
help you understand better. With eyes closed, the withdrawal is up. Complete withdrawal from senses are up. The consciousness or awareness fully available, and the mind we call active mind. I put this word active mind, if at all, is resolved or recognizing that completely. Hence, there is no need for anything more, anything less, because it is all fully available. It is like a expansive awareness available. There is nothing else to look for because it is massive. Eyes closed. With eyes open, now that the sensual feed is on, which you don't need to put attention to, yet the active mind now engaged in two ways. One is awareness available completely within, and the feeds are constantly out there. It is like switching on the light. That sensual feed is on, yet there is no attention getting drawn out there because there is nothing to look for, even though, the feed is on. Is that the fair description of this?
you are intellectually trying to bring in a picture that will never satisfy the state, because no words can really fathom that experience or that being, that state of being. The limitation of the sense organs or anything. He's not even, the person who is in that state is not even aware of his own body. So forget about what you talk about, that, the sense organs feeding and etc. That those things are all have no relevance for such a person. He is no more the individuality. He is no more the identified human being. He is one with that awareness in which everything is appearing. He is no more in the physical body, mind, intellect complex. Nothing of that is his or he, but he is that awareness in which that also exists, the world also exists. That is the aikyata, or the oneness of this, the knower and the known. There is no separatedness at that state. And there is no need for two there at that time. Neither the knower remains nor the known remains. It's only when we bring it to transaction, the knower and the known remains. This is a state where he is all by himself. He is full by himself. He has nothing to experience. He is nothing to fear about. He is no restrictions. He is no space, no time. No need for coming back to something, because it is not acquired so that you will lose it. It is your true nature even this very time, this very moment of that. And you realize that that has been there, that has never been what you thought we were. That type of a state can never be explained through words. Words fail. That is why yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, the Upanishad was so vehemently telling us, yat manasana manude yena hurmano matam. It is not that with mind you know that. It is by which the mind becomes what is mind. Tadeva brahmatvam viddhi. Vetam iti tamupasate. That is what is Brahman. And when Brahman is there, nothing else is there. Everything is in Brahman. Or everything is Brahman. And there is nothing called everything separate and Brahman separate. No.
I get this, Binduji. Thanks for completely pointing it out. Where I try to dive a little deeper in two parts. Hope the time permit. Eyes open, because I'm trying to get to the complete clarity. That's why I'm probing. There is no three-way split with eyes open. This is the first observation. No three-way split. Number one. Number two, that identification talked about in the verse. Identification shifting, identifying with the Brahman is called Samādhi, also as knowledge. That has been told. The identification is what is available as pure awareness within, as an Aparoksha experience, number one. And what has been fed from sensual feed, that, the world which is seen, also Brahman. That is the content of that awareness. Both has to be identified. That has to be resolved, because the three-way split continue to happen if that expansion of the Brahman identification within and without, both. So these are the two sort of, areas I want to get your validation. No three-way split, number one, and identification has to be complete. That means the Brahman as a awareness and content of awareness both need to be resolved with. Hence further, the mind looking for answers also get resolved.
You're right. There is no three-way split. The three-way split is only when the transaction comes. So that aspect is very clear. Whether the eyes open, not open, doesn't matter. Because the eyes are no more eyes. Because the body itself is no more a body. It is an awareness. It is a content of consciousness, or consciousness itself which is appearing as the body, which includes the eyes, ears, everything. So when such a person is there, there is no need for any resolution, because he doesn't see anything other than himself. In such sense that he doesn't see anything other than awareness. He doesn't know anything other than awareness. The only awareness is there, and that awareness is what he is. So I am no more awareness. No, I am not saying that way. I don't have a word to say what I am. Because even awareness is a word which is limiting the awareness. Absolute silence due to the bliss of silence, where the revelation, realization, or the knowledge is all. That is the be all and end all of everything. The words will fail in whatever way you want to resolve it or reduce it or define it. You can never get to that state where, you got an answer. The answer is you. You are the answer. You have to find the answer in you as you. That is where the solution or resolution or resolving remains, not in words or explanations outside.
Thanks, Binduji. I think you did something unique now. Eyes or no more eyes. So that solves it actually. Thanks for this.
Thank you, Venkat. Namaste, Yash.
Yeah, after a long time I'm hearing you. Although sometimes I visit the replays. So it was a very beautiful session and thank you for that.
Thank you, Yash.
In the middle of the session, you said vṛtti-vismaraṇa, and at the end of the session, you said that even thoughts are redundant. Can these be both equated?
Yeah, both are same.
Okay. Because vṛtti-vismaraṇa would. So I see here Shankaracharya in his Aparokshanubhuti is describing exactly the same as Ramana Maharishi's Sahaja Samādhi. But Maharishi also presents in a way that where he says that you are at the same time, like how Venkatji was saying, open eyes, seeing the world and doing all your things at the same time. This Sahaja Samadhi is maintained. So it is totally different from the Patanjali's Samadhi. So in that way, vṛtti-rahitam won't make sense, but I would see redundant of the vṛttis will make more sense as a pointer. Would you agree?
You are right. You are right.
Right. Yeah. Just this wanted to clarify. Thank you, Binduji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yash. Please listen to this particular thing again. If you have doubt, please come up and you can ask in next class also. Because this is what is Aparokshanubhuti all about. Our direct realization or knowing our true nature. It cannot be achieved by any other means other than our own ātma-brahma. Okay. Nobody else is there, so we'll stop the class today. Continue on Friday. See you all on Friday. Hari Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Binduji. Namaste.